You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
U.S. Cellular has noticed the way we use our phones has gotten ironic. We try to put our phones down for dinner, but the menu's on a QR code. That's ironic. We hit like on social posts that we don't actually like, which is ironic. Which is why U.S. Cellular created Us Mode, to help us reconnect with each other and use our phones less ironically. A phone company wanting people to use their phones less is ironic. Let's find us again with Us Mode from U.S. Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built-for-us to get started.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show of the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. For those of you that are worried, I'm not going to pick up. It's no big deal. Nobody's there waiting for you. There's no screening. You just call, you leave a message, and you go right to the front of the line. Don't say anything stupid because this is all pre-recorded. Not that that's ever happened, but I just feel like somebody's going to, one of these days, just say something crazy and be like, I'm going to get him. It's like, no, it's pre-recorded. But yeah, we'll just get to your message and do the whole thing. I will say, most people that call in call back. So, seems to be not a terrible experience. Even Cheeseballin' kept calling back for a while. You know what I mean? Anyways, we don't have any new callers today. We are going to skip ahead a little bit. We're going to go right to where the games are. In fact, let's just go backwards. It works out perfectly because we're skipping TJ from Alabama, who had the oldest call, and we're starting with TJ from Alabama. So we'll go in reverse until we get caught up a little bit.
Hey, Ryan, TJ from Alabama. You know, I listening to your Caleb rant, and thank you for that, because, always enjoy the good rant.
We might have another mini one coming. Well, I don't want to give it away, but let's just say PFF is saying some stuff that's just stupid.
Very much entertaining.
You're welcome.
But I listened to the rant before I watched any of the Bears game.
Sure.
From this past weekend. So I watched the Bears game, with the rant in mind, so I'm sure that was coloring my opinion a little bit.
Sure. But
I could not agree more with you. I mean, yeah, there was the couple of plays that, wow, hey, that's special. But my gosh, it looked horrible for a lot of...
Well, and look, I'm sorry, that reminded me of Justin Fields. I mean, listen, for years with Fields, and before that Trubisky, I held my breath every time these guys throw a pass, like, please don't look awesome. And you watch these passes just sail, and I remember you see it and you just go, ha, you freaking suck. It was the exact same thing I did with Fields. Now, listen, it's just a half. Jordan struggled last year, and all the little things you can color in there. Again, all the caveats in the world. All I'm saying is, as a Packer fan, there's a result that I want, and I saw it almost the entire time. Mixed in with some, that was really nice, but Fields did that too. And no, not just with his legs. He did the rolling to his right, throwing across his body, dime type of throws where it's like, oh crap, this guy might actually be good. And then he just went back to doing the consistent, rarely amazing, consistently not very good. That's what I'm shooting for. And so that's the performance that Caleb gave us. That's the performances that Justin Fields gave us. That's the performances that Mitch Trubisky gave us. We'll see what the future holds. But rarely amazing and consistently bad is exactly what we're shooting for.
The other stuff, poor throws, bad reads, it was...
And by the way, the fact that everybody's blaming, the receiver wasn't over. The offensive line couldn't block. bro, this is the same. Like, first of all, maybe you're right, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for me. And it's not going to matter for Caleb, and it's not going to matter for the Bears or anybody else. It's not going to make you score more points because the refs are going to go back and look and say, well, if the receiver would have got more separation. That's not how that works. And plus, this is the exact same arguments you made against for Justin Fields. Well, he doesn't have any time in the pocket. Well, the play calling sucks. Well, this. Well, that. Well. Doesn't matter. You were wrong, but it still doesn't matter.
That's great. And then you watch Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels. I watched, a little bit of J.J. McCarthy, but obviously that wasn't enough. And to be honest with you, I haven't really watched much of Drake May, but I have watched, obviously, Bo Nix because of us, and then Jaden Daniels because I'm interested. I just think Jaden Daniels is going to be the best quarterback in the draft, but neither here nor there. That's obviously just opinion. But Bo Nix looks much more like a ready quarterback.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I don't know that Bo Nix did any of those special Caleb throws, but who is better overall? Because it's not about the special, right? Like I said before, what you want is the core, the foundation, the ice cream, as I put it. If you have a cherry to put on top, which Caleb has, he's walking around with these cherries all the time. He has the cherries. But that's not what makes you good. Bo Nix, and this is why I liked Bo. I like Bo, and I like Pratt. Those are like I think there were other guys JJ I kind of liked a little bit, but JJ was more of in the same boat with Caleb, where they both kind of showed that like, oh man, they got the special, they got the cherries. But it wasn't about the special so much. The reason I liked Pratt and the reason I liked Bo Nix was because when I watched the All-22, I wanted to see composure in the pocket. I wanted to see working within the structure of your offense, and then throwing to the right guy on time in rhythm. And when I watched Bo Nix and Michael Pratt, which, and I'm sure there's more to it than this, but there's certain things that I want to see specifically. And I'm probably missing a bunch of other stuff. But when I wanted to see that, those are the two guys that I saw it from consistently, where they would throw the ball before the receiver even comes out of his break. And then he comes out of his break and that ball's just waiting for him. That kind of stuff. Those are the guys that did it. The guys that just make, reading and understanding football in the quarterback position look easy, where it's like their brains are working on another plane. It's just the amount of processing that they can handle is incredible. That's what makes quarterbacking so unbelievably hard. And you got guys coming at you a million miles an hour, and that's where guys like Bo Nix and Michael Pratt are going to struggle. That's where he struggled, I think, yesterday. Is they got. I remember I even called it on the stream yesterday when they were mugging up on a third down, and I just was like, there's no way. There's no way he's doing this. It's too fast. Like, he's not going to be able to process, because that's one of those things where pretty much everybody's at the line of scrimmage, and you don't know who's coming and who's dropping. So the offensive line is not going to pick this up. He's not going to be able to read the defense because the defense isn't declaring anything. Unlike most of the time in college when he'd have some time to process and go, okay, based on what I'm seeing. And a lot of times there's one read. If the safety comes down, I'm going to throw to that guy. If the safety goes back, I'm going to throw to this guy. When the defense is like, he doesn't know. But that's something that's going to come with time. But the point is, they have that ability. And the point is, that's what you need to see from everybody, including Caleb. And the fact that he can do like, oh, look at that crazy throw. Listen, pretty much every quarterback can do circus throws. Caleb might be the winner of the circus throw competition aside from Pat Mahomes. They would have a great competition. It would be a lot of fun to watch. Like that Dan Marino behind the back pass where he threw it like 50 yards right to a guy in the end zone. That type of stuff, yeah, they're going to be special with that. But that has nothing to do with the quarterback position.
Going to win some games. Jaden Daniels looks much more like a ready quarterback with some of the special as well. Right. Could not agree more with you, Ryan. Caleb's probably going to be good.
Yeah,
I will still go with the original prediction that
probably
he's going to, and when I said Favre-like, I don't mean Hall of Fame Favre. I mean Favre, don't know what a nickel defense is Favre, where he's going to have some games that he just goes off and everybody's going to fall in love. I think he's going to get us once where we're going to be up by 6 and Caleb does some crazy something, and he gets us, and the Bear fans just go nuts. And then the other game against us, we're just going to lambaste them and going to get 3 picks off them and sack them 5 times and just kill them. But we'll see. All right, that's it. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, as far as the rookie quarterbacks go, and obviously this is going to change because we don't have Michael Pratt's new and upgraded grade in here. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it's going to be bad. But Michael Pratt was the highest graded rookie quarterback, then J.J. McCarthy, then Jaden Daniels. 5th was Bo Nix, then Caleb Williams. That's overall, though. If you look at passing grades, it was J.J. McCarthy, then Michael Pratt, then Jaden Daniels 4th, Drake May 6th, Bo Nix 8th, Caleb Williams 9th on this list. Caleb Williams is ahead of Michael Penix, and that's basically it. As far as guys that are, I don't even want to say first round. Are they all first? Yeah, I guess the first round guys. Pratt is not. But if you look at first round, it's J.J. McCarthy, then Jaden Daniels, then Drake May, then Bo Nix, then Caleb Williams, then Michael Penix. So overall right now, and this will be on tomorrow's podcast, 65.7 passing grade. That's how Jordan started, right? Remember, Jordan started with bad first half and a good second half. So maybe if he had played the second half, he'd have come out and just tore stuff up. I don't know. I'm not trying to dismiss. I'm just saying it hasn't been massively encouraging, especially since, let's do this real quick. Since they want to use Pat Mahomes as the standard here, if you recall, Pat Mahomes has never been anything but elite. In his rookie season, in the 4 preseason games, his passing grades were 86, 90, 74, and 86. He had a 92 passing grade. The guy was elite from the day he stepped foot on a field. The first game, it was 9 attempts. Do I still have Caleb up here? I don't. 9 attempts. So, none of these are significantly more than Caleb did. Right, 9, 14, 15, 16. He had 7 completions for 49 yards and a touchdown, 10 completions, 88 yards and 2 touchdowns, 8 completions out of 8 of 15. That was his worst game. 8 of 15, 70 yards. And then 9 of 16, 183 yards and a touchdown. And as far as big-time throw rate, it was 13.6%, which is stupid high. Stupid high. The guy was elite from day one. And that was the year he didn't even play. Right? Remember, because I'm not talking about the first year he played. His first year as a rookie in the preseason. So from the second, and I remember when people talked, this was part of the reason people didn't believe in Jordan Love. Colin Cowherd talked about how, you just knew. With Pat Mahomes, you just knew. You could tell as soon as he was out there. You just knew what he could do. Now, that's a faulty premise, but for a fan base that wants to pretend that this is the next Pat Mahomes, let's just dismiss that today. He's not Pat Mahomes. At least not in every way that Pat Mahomes is Pat Mahomes. Now we're looking at this saying, unlike Pat Mahomes, we hope he develops into a Pat Mahomes. Because Pat Mahomes didn't have to develop into a Pat Mahomes. He was Pat Mahomes from day one. All right, Nico, what's up?
Hey, Ryan, this is Nico down here in the armpit of America.
What's up?
The Gulf Coast of Florida, where it's humid as crap. So I was able to actually watch the game. I found a stream on YouTube. It disappeared a couple times, but it was able to come back. And, everybody's kind of freaking out. Afterwards, I went on the Clayton's podcast, and people were just freaking out. And I went on Facebook, and everyone's freaking out.
There's a lot of freaking out yesterday.
This game really doesn't matter.
It's way worse in the regular season, right? In the regular season, when you're losing, you're miserable as a fan, and then you have to, I don't want to say endure, because of course I appreciate everybody there, even the people that are upset, but negative people making you more negative when I'm trying not to be miserable. It's just misery on top of misery. It wasn't an enjoyable time. Me and my whole family are sick, and so I'm sick, I'm very tired. That's why there was no podcast this morning. I apologize. I said I can't. I'm going to bed. And you're not having a good time watching the game, and then everybody's just like This is it. We shouldn't have fired Joe Barry. This is the same bull crap. Like, I hate this team. Like, why is the play calling so trash? And, like, you try to rationalize with it, but at the same time, like, I don't want to have these arguments right now. Like, I don't want to have to start with the argument again, like the regular season argument of, how do you know the play calling is bad? You can't even see what play they ran. Nor can you see the defense it was against to be able to properly argue whether or not that was a good... The problem with the play calling argument... I shouldn't even do this now. But let me just articulate it. The problem with the play calling argument is what people mean when they say play calling is I didn't like that play in the way that it turned out. So, for example, when Michael Pratt throws in the flat for 1 yard and he gets blown up, they say this play calling sucks. Bro, there's other guys running routes, right? There's an entire concept for why this play was called, and we have no idea what the concept was or why it was, the theory behind it, nor do we know what was supposed to happen on that play. For all we know, Pratt was supposed to launch a 40-yard pass down the field, and he panicked and threw it in the flat. We don't know if it's play calling. What are you talking about? It's also hard to blame play calling when your offensive line can't block and when you got a guy like McCray who, rather than just running to the wide open hole on 4th and 1, decides to plow into the back of a bunch of guys. Yeah, we could say bad play calling if we want to. But anyways, there was a lot of misery yesterday and a lot of overreactions.
Obviously, it would be cool if our second stringers go out there and be better than the first stringers, but that's not going to happen.
And also, the short memory spans also get... I understand just there's emotional reactions and they just come spewing out of people's fingertips and whatnot in the comment section. But when we win a preseason game, suddenly everybody, like, bro, Bo... DeBose, like, DeBose, like, what are we going to... DeBose drops a pass, and it's like, you know what? Screw him. Nope, Heath is better. I don't even like DeBose. I never liked DeBose. Like, come on. Stop it. Right? It's like... And then guess what? If we end up beating Baltimore, everyone's going to freak out. Think about... Let's just think for a second. Let's look big picture, like step back, because we're so zoomed in right now, it's a little crazy. Let's zoom out a little bit. And let's look at the emotional reaction to preseason games. I know you want to zoom in on it and get super analytical. I get it. Right? We're in the same team here, but let's back up a little bit. When we won a preseason game, everybody was great. Everything's great. Everybody's happy. We lost a preseason game. Everybody sucks. We're doomed if anybody gets injured. We're all screwed. The coaches suck. Joe Barry should just come back. Do you understand how crazy that is? I mean, you get it, right? And also, we're running vanilla offenses and defenses. Remember that whole thing? Like, you don't call your actual offense and defense. We don't even have our offensive play caller calling plays. I don't know who's calling the defensive plays. I'm guessing Halfley because he, needs to be doing that. But, I mean, this is not our normal defense. Plus, there's no game planning going on. You're not game planning against Denver in this. That's not how this works. I mean, maybe a little bit, but you're not. First of all, you can't, even if you wanted to. You don't have enough time, number one, and there's too many players to scheme against. You don't even know which players are playing against who. You got 6 different tackles playing in a game, and they have 15 different pass rushers coming into the game. Who's scheming against who? The coaches don't have time for that crap. This is about just generally understanding your fundamentals. Right? And then you also have 2 very different philosophies. You have one coach in Matt LaFleur and Halfley and everybody else that's like, let's just go out there, let's practice our fundamentals, let's just see if you guys can execute this, that, or the other and try to win a job. Then you got a coach on the other side that's like, you know what? I got $15,000 on anybody that knocks that MFer out of the game. How about that? Okay? Then if you guys come back here without the win, you're all getting cut. I want you to go out there and make them bleed. I want them to suffer. We're playing first stringers the entire first quarter, and you better bury them. I mean, I swear, Matt LaFleur looked frustrated, and understandably so, but I have to assume part of his frustration is, what are you doing, Peyton? I mean, can we just try to get some productive sessions out of this? Like, this is a little ridiculous. This is the last guy in the world you want to be paired up against in a preseason game. Anyway, sorry, Nico. I should save that for tomorrow's podcast, but I got to get it off my chest a little bit.
I mean, they were playing the first stringers to like the third quarter, okay? And we didn't even start.
Well, and to be fair, I mean, that it was one quarter, but we don't know who their starting quarterback is. So it's like, well, they played their starter the first quarter, and then the second quarter or whatever was their second string. It's like, well, they kind of have 2 second-string quarterbacks, but they kind of have 2 first-string quarterbacks, so it kind of, cancels itself out a little bit or balances out. But still, I mean, more or less, I mean, their starter might be worse than like a really good starter, but I think their number 2 is probably better than most people's number 2. So, I mean, it was just tough sledding. That's all I'm saying. It's tough sledding the entire game.
I am confident, and I would put a whole week's salary on the fact that if we had to play the
Broncos in the regular season,
the Broncos in the season,
yes,
with the week of scheming, we'd
boat race
all them.
We'd boat race those guys.
Not even
right.
But I get it. People freak out. I haven't changed my opinion on my team. It's funny because back in the years when we were always winning 12, 13 games, even way back in the Favre era, we would a lot of times go 0-4. Oh, and 2-2 in the preseason. People get, oh my God. And then, when you're in week 10, do you even remember the name of the guy that missed the tackle?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I hate to keep picking on the guy, especially since he ended up going out with a concussion. But, like, people lost their mind about the defense when Raylan Goforth didn't make a tackle. Like, explain to me how that makes sense to you. Explain to me how Raylan Goforth not being able to stop a touchdown has you worried about our starting defense. I don't understand how we're getting to that point.
Do you remember the name of the fifth-string guy that missed the tackle of the fourth-string guy in the fourth quarter of the Denver Broncos game? No.
Right.
People need to just chill out, chillax. And yes, in the practices, it didn't go too well. But you know what? I heard another NFL guy say that practices aren't nothing like games. There's no scheming.
Well, and listen, I mentioned how annoyed I was that the Packers got the crap beat out of them by New England last year. That was really, really annoying. And it happened again this year, and it's really, really annoying. But can we just rewind a little bit? Do you remember how the season ended for the Packers and the Patriots last year? How much was that foreshadowing? Were the Patriots significantly better than the Patriots are so garbage, it's a joke. Even when the Packers were at their worst, I think they could have beat the Patriots. That was a joke, dude. They suck. They're so bad. And you know what? Denver's not going to be a very good team unless Bo Nix ends up being a stud, which, I mean, maybe. I don't know. But it's not a great, I mean, who's the stud on that team? How many really good players do they have? Is the answer 0? Because I'm struggling here.
Just trying stuff.
Go ahead.
So even then it doesn't matter. So I'm not too worried. I would bet anyone right now $1,000 that the Packers will have a better record at the end of the year than the Broncos. So
I'm not
just
touching that.
And yeah, Bo Nix, he looks good. Good for them. You know what? I like it when young talent can come in to be good. It's good for the entire league. It's good for everything. But yeah, we got one of those, so we're good. So anyways, for all those folks that are freaking out, just chill out. You know what? Relax. I'll quote the once famous great Aaron Rodgers, relax, chill out, calm down, it's going to be good. We got you, dog. So go back up.
I mean, look, as far as like real life negatives, what I said on the stream essentially was, look, we're trying to see, in my opinion, I think a lot of people want to see too much. We want to see a dominant football team, maybe because it speaks to culture. We want to see a team that is really good because the play calling is really good. You know, you overcome potentially the deficits because the play calling is so elite. I think a lot of it is not actually that well thought out. I think it's just a lot of flailing. I think there's people who are emotionally upset and then they try to lean into their rationale to justify their emotional state rather than the other way around. But whatever. I think people want to see too much. or at least they pretend they want to see too much. Really, what this is about is trying to see these guys that are roster bubble guys. What do we have in them? You know, and there's other guys like rookies that you want to see. Which rookie, by the way, was disappointing? Because I thought the safeties looked solid. Oladapo seemed even decent. I mean, he came in real late. He's played almost no football. There might have been a couple questionable things in there, but for the most part, as soon as he came in, you never didn't see him. I mean, he was all over the place making plays, and even if it was kind of 50-50 for him, I mean, for his first outing in a real, actual live game, I was happy with it. Williams I love. Bullard I love. Frickin' Tyron Hopper, who I think roughly zero Packer fans have any expectations for, was one of the highlights of the entire game. Who else? I mean, our bunch of other rookies are injured. Pratt didn't have the best day in the world, but I still like him, and he's a 7th-round pick, so I doubt our 7th-round rookie, so I don't know how much of our hopes are on him. Kalen King had a little bit more of an up-and-down day. Started off rough, but he came in, made some plays. And again, he's also a 7th-rounder. But, yeah, I mean, Edgerrin Cooper is injured. Marshawn Lloyd is injured. Jordan Morgan is injured. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd-round picks. We also have Bullard who's in there. But, I mean, I don't know of anybody that we had strong expectations for that isn't producing out there. So, yeah, I mean, it sucks that James Esther kept making mistakes and Spencer Wagee wasn't doing what he needed to do, and Raylan Goforth kept making mistakes. And, Dimitri Stanley doesn't seem like a great kick returner. Let's just put it that way. And Jalen Wayne wasn't a dynamo. And, Bo Melton as the number 5 doesn't seem to be a solid number 5. I mean, it's not massively devastating. I don't think. But why don't we take a break? We'll come back. We got some Ron.
You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com. You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com. You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com. You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
What up? It's Aaron from Eau Claire.
Doe.
Just sending a little note after it's not quite after the preseason game against the Broncos, but pretty much at the end here. It was funny when I was doing some stuff around the house. My wife put the game on, and I was just kind of watching it without knowing anything about who was in the lineup, and I just saw the Denver Broncos just carving up the defense, and I was like, what the heck? This is bad, and then I looked it up and I was like, oh, pretty much everyone, who, with the exception of a few, most of the starters are not even playing. So I was like, okay, phew. So the rest of the game is more or less a wash, but, yeah, pretty pretty rough going offensive preseason game. Not really anything to grab onto there. I would say, unfortunately, Sean Clifford just seems to be kind of probably not the answer at backup quarterback, and Pratt seems a little bit better, although the stats aren't that much better, but he at least didn't throw an interception, and, in his defense, there's not a whole lot of other starter-level talent out there he's playing with, so anyways, but yeah, it was just funny because I was kind of panicking a little bit, like, I'm seeing the Denver Broncos just gut the Packers up the middle in these big chunk runs. And then I realized, okay, nobody's playing for them. So just a bunch of names that I've never seen before on the back of their jerseys. But anyways, just the players that I did like, Brenton Cox had a nice sack. Christian Welch and Tyrone Hopper. So fortunately, some good linebacker play. But that's it. All right. Go Pack, go.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not under the illusion that once our starters go out, this defense is just going to destroy everybody. I mean, there's going to be issues, and we know that. And I do think that there were some things that we saw that maybe are endemic of this style of defense. I remember especially early on, the pressure was getting there constantly, especially like when our somewhat starters were out there. But a lot of times that left people open over the top. And I think that that's kind of the give and take that you have a little bit. And you hope that when you have better corners out there and better linebackers and better safeties, there's less space to operate. But when you've got a pass rush that is, Lucas Van Ness and Carl Brooks and Colby Wooden, you've got basically starters out there. Essentially, I mean, they're backups, but they're rotating with the starters, and they're expected to be starter caliber type of guys. The pass rush was getting there. But then when you have, Anthony Johnson Jr. and Corey Ballantyne and, Jermon Green and, Eric Wilson and Aaron Mosby or whatever in coverage at linebacker and corner and safety and whatnot, yeah, there were guys open. And those might be things that we have to go back and tweak as far as the defensive scheme, but I think it's also a matter of, we believe we can run this because we believe we have the top-end personnel that can execute it. We can cover long enough and have good enough pass rush that we can play aggressively and get the pass rush there before it becomes detrimental down the field. And it was very difficult to run that against, especially a starting offense that is very fast and efficient and was able to get their starting wide receivers open against our second, third string corners and whatnot. But, part of that, again, might just be something we got to get used to. There's going to be some bigger plays. You're going to see more turnovers. You're going to see more sacks and pressures. Probably going to see some other more frustrating plays and shots down the field and everything else. You're going to get mad at Stokes and Jair and everything because they're giving up plays down the field because they're left on an island to cover 50-50. And if you get a guy that throws a dime down the field and he gets caught, that's just freaking how it goes. And throwing a temper tantrum about it isn't going to change it. I mean, if this is what you want, if this is the aggressive defense you want, then you got to take with the good with the bad, And there's also never been just putting this out there now because I know it's coming. There's never been a defense that's never given up passes, big runs, and scores, right? There's never been a defense that's had 0 points ever scored in a season.
Hey, what's going on? So Modified Fighter, how y'all doing? Hope you can hear me. My phone been messing up today. I must have dropped it. Anyway, I'm happy about this game, but not like how y'all think. I'm happy because it shows us who we actually got, what everybody is. So, one, Newman is terrible. Our offensive line is terrible. Our depth at offensive line is what I should say is terrible. So, wide receiver Heath, he should be on the team. He's the only one that seems like one catch the football. I like the Bows dropping. Melton, dropping again. Like, you can't do that. But everybody like, oh, Snowden could be a number 3 on somebody else's team. No, he can't. Not dropping the ball like that consistently. But I give it to Heath. Heath is definitely there. I put the Bulls on the practice squad. Oh my gosh, Sean Clifford is terrible. And then I get excited because Pratt go in there, like he plays so bad. They put Pratt in there. I'm telling my wife, yeah, I can't wait for Pratt to play. They put Pratt in there, then he threw the daggone pass, hit the daggone defensive lineman. I'm like, come on, man. Like, they even gave you opportunity to maybe go down the field. He's doing stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Clifford is just so bad. Let's Pratt throw like some interceptions the rest of his game. I'm keeping Pratt. Let Pratt learn. You know, I put Clifford on the practice squad. Nobody's going to steal Clifford. I promise you. I can guarantee it. Nobody's stealing Clifford from the practice squad. Anyway, but we have no depth at all on the defensive line. Like, basically, our depth is just trash. If any one of our starters gone, we got an issue and a problem. And that's what I like. So I like that we're going against the starters because that's you can tell who really is playing, who really can play. Ford looked terrible. I mean, like I said, I only see like a couple of good players. King was okay. I don't know if he got beat on that touchdown. You know, okay, I get it. That's, you know, starting cornerbacks get beat on that same kind of route. I'm not mad at that. He tried to tackle some stuff, but again, have the backup QB just truck one of our players and then put him out the game. That's just horrible. Like, we really need to look at our depth at a lot. And if I would take some offensive linemen, whoever the top 3 highest rated offensive linemen in the preseason we should sign, and look up PFF top 5 offensive linemen of 2024. Like teams, like I know the Lions is on there. I forgot I know Falcons I think was in top 5. But just look up those top 5 teams at PFF and sign some players that they cut. All right, go.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's maybe the positive is we don't have to worry about, you know, how many quarterbacks do we take. I mean, to be completely honest, we could maybe even stash Pratt now. I mean, if Pratt was going to be consistently good throughout the entire preseason, that was kind of like, oh boy, I don't know, you know. I think at this point, nobody's going to pick him up and put him on their 53 as their backup quarterback. It's not going to happen, so... I do think, and nobody's going to like this, I think Clifford's going to be our number 2, and I think Pratt's going to the practice squad. I think that's what's going to happen. We'll see. I mean, Clifford did get pulled. They wouldn't even let him finish the last 30 seconds, so that might have been the straw that broke the camel's back for him. But either way, I don't know that it super matters. We're screwed if Jordan goes down. We knew that from day one. I don't care what quarterback you want to go out and get. That's going to be the case pretty much no matter what. Maybe a little less screwed with somebody else. That's true. Maybe somebody can give us a shot to just not completely sink. If he's out for like 3 games, maybe we can win 1 with somebody else. But I don't know. I mean, I just, our season's done if we lose Jordan. And, so it doesn't massively matter to me. I mean, as a Pratt fan, it would be cool to see him get elevated as a rookie to that spot. The only negative is I understand that it's not because of Pratt being this elite guy. It's because Clifford just fell off that hard in the good graces of the coaching staff, in their eyes. So it is what it is, man. I mean, listen, Clifford still has time to kind of develop some stuff. I don't have a massive amount of hope. Pratt, I do have a decent amount of hope for. I just think he was a better quarterback than Clifford, to be honest, despite their draft status. The NFL maybe didn't agree. Again, I was a Pratt fan, so I'm pretty biased about it, but I have some hope in year 2, year 3 of being able to develop behind Jordan and with the solid quarterback coaches and whatnot that we have, that maybe he could be that backup that we hope he can be. But as of right now, this is the situation. It's not going to change. Somebody's getting stashed on the practice squad. Somebody that we don't want playing in a game is going to be the backup. And the way that we shuffle that isn't really going to change things much. All right, let's take our final break. We'll be right back. All right, Nate, what's going on, man?
Hey, Packernet, it's Nate. I was just calling in because I'm sitting here watching the Packer games not on yet, but they're showing the Raiders game. And I got to say, I think as Packer fans, we should really all be super happy that we have not only Jordan Love, but also like Michael Pratt looking pretty good. Like he's going to be at least a real solid backup. Okay. I would think from at least what we've seen so far. I think he's got a pretty good shot. And I'm watching the Raiders, and I'm just like, they have like 2 backup quarterbacks.
Yeah.
If not a second
and that's exactly. I'm glad you went there. They just named Minshew today to be their quarterback. Now, you say what you want about Pratt, especially after that last performance. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he could be like a Minshew level guy. One of those guys that's probably a really good backup. Maybe somebody gives him an opportunity to be a starter, but nobody really wants him to be a starter kind of guy. I don't see why he couldn't be that level of a quarterback. And even with the Broncos, Stidham. Could he be a Stidham? You know, I'm that's kind of the range that I'm hoping he gets into. Of course, it'd be nice if he got even better than that. And who knows, maybe we get some legit draft capital from trading him or something. I don't know. But yeah, when you look around the NFL and you see these sort of backup-ish type of guys, yeah, I don't see why not.
They don't even really have a starting quarterback. Yeah. Like Gardner Minshew.
Exactly.
And I don't even know the other guy's name. Aiden O'Connell. Like,
right.
Like, no, these guys are not starting level quarterbacks. So we should really, like, be thankful. Like, just think of how much worse it could be. Go,
right.
Go.
Yeah, and like I said, Minshew just got named as the starter. And, yeah, I mean, he's in that weird camp of, I mean, to be fair, he's as good as some of the other guys that are considered starters, at least for a while, until they get thrown to the wolves. Like, he's probably better than like a Darnold or a Zach. Well, I mean, we know he's better than Zach Wilson. I cannot believe how bad he was. I mean, Zach Wilson came out with, you know, the worst level of our defense and struggled the most. I mean, he is just awful. It's crazy. But, you know, Minshew's better than a lot of those guys. He's had moments of, I mean, it almost reminds me of Nick Foles, where there are times and you're like, this guy's a legit starter, and then there's other times where it's like, bro, you suck. I don't even want you as a backup. But anyways, again, you know, that's kind of where you're hoping Pratt can get, where you feel real good about him as a backup, and eventually, you know, teams are offering so much money that you can't afford to keep him, and then at that point, it's like, all right, well, I guess we trade the guy, and maybe we get a little something out of it, you know. And who knows, maybe he can have that Matt Flynn thing where he makes he has that one elite game, makes a crap ton of money, and then it's like, oh, shoot, we shouldn't have given him all that money, and he doesn't care because he's just living the high life.
All right, probably going to be a million calls about it already, but snap one, yeah. Sean Clifford, dude, you're trying to make the team here at this point. Like, Michael Pratt is clearly better than you already. Like, dude, oh my God. Just change his last name to Clipboard. Do it. Change it legally. Go back, go.
Yeah, I think Sean Ryan was starting at center, so I don't know if that was the center's fault or what. The snapping felt weird to me all day. I don't know if it was just me being overly critical or what, but there was something about it. Every time I saw, like, I'm surprised we didn't get a penalty for it, because usually when the snap is a little late or something, it just seemed off. Not trying to negate the blame on the quarterback or whatever, but I kept noticing that all day, where it's just like, why does that look so weird to me? But yeah, it was, as soon as you saw that, it just seemed like it set the tone for the entire day.
Hey, Nate again. I'm watching the defense now, and I'm just like, at first I was pissed. I'm like, how is, like, Bo Nix and probably their backups playing so well against us? And then I saw Brenton Cox out there is, like, on the starting team. I'm like, oh, right. Okay, so like Matt LaFleur and about this game, which is probably the smart thing to do. Let's be honest. It's the last preseason game right before we're going to start week 1 of the NFL season. So, like, I'm all for it. Like, let's just see what some of these rookies can do. Let's just see what some of these, like, late round guys and, you know, 4th, 5th string guys can do, just to see what we have and call it a day. Get out of there, no injuries, and call it a day. Go Pack, go.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, let's be very clear. If the goal was winning, we would have played our starters, right? So it might have been the goal for the other coach, but I mean, of course you want to win and you want your guys to perform well, and Matt LaFleur was clearly upset, which is one of the funny things about, like, fans are out there policing everybody else about how their reactions are, and I get annoyed by it, but I'm also annoyed by the team, and so I'm trying to calm people down, but at the same time, I 100% get it because I have that same just demon inside that's like, this freaking team sucks. I give up. Like, okay, here we go. Halfley's just another freaking bum. Like, all those demonic thoughts are in my head too. I'm just trying as hard as I can to overcome them. And then I see them in the comment section. It's like, bro, shut up, dude. Stop it. Like, I got to fight my own demons and I got to fight you. Like, don't make me do this. So I get it. But it is funny when people on social media or me or whoever are like, bro, it's just a preseason game. And then you see Matt LaFleur like ready to just absolutely strangle everybody. It's like, why don't you go tell Matt LaFleur to not be angry? Because he's more angry than anybody on Twitter right now. He's screaming at players. So he obviously has a different perspective on how this works. Now, he might go to the podium and be like, guys, it's a preseason game. But I'm watching you in game, bro. Don't even try it. He has that same thing. I have a suspicion that everybody has that, right? It's just a matter of how well you can control it so that you can go on social media and tell everybody how, like, constrained you are. And to be fair, you should be constrained. It's not like a strength to be, the whole, like, well, I'm just being honest. No, you're being emotional is what you're being. It's just a matter of, can you overcome your emotions? But, yeah, I have to assume everybody has that. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It seems like there are some very genuinely like positive fans, the Matt Ramage fans. I don't know if they have it. Maybe they don't have it. They just feel they're just happy all the time. But for a lot of us, it's just rage. I don't understand it either. It's like Nate. I mean, Nate saw one fumble and he called in just pissed. And I get that. I saw a fumble and it's like, here we go. Here we frickin', I swear, I hate everything. And it's like you, in the regular season, you wait all week and you're so excited and you get all jacked up. And maybe it's because we get too excited about it. But you get so excited about the game. And then you watch the game and it's like 3 and out. And it's like, you know what, dude, I'm freaking done with this. I can't, this offensive line is just so I'm sick of this crap. I can't believe we're going to lose to this team. It's so dumb. I don't understand it. It's such a weird thing to be such an emotional wuss about everything, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why I'm so emotional. In other phases of my life, I'm a very non-emotional person. When it comes to football, boy, oh boy, am I a hormonal person. Anyways, Nate, let's get your last call in here.
All right, this is going to be the last call. I swear to God. Calling three times this quick is ridiculous. But did anybody else notice that when they got that first touchdown, that the announcer said Packers up 10, and they had the graphic going for Packers up 10, even though it was not us who... Oh, 10-7. Sorry, I'm high right now. But did anybody else notice that? That's the point. Go back out.
I didn't. I did notice, apparently a timeout clock kept ticking down. I kept seeing that. I'm like, oh, we got 30 seconds left. And then I have no idea. I've never seen that before in my life. But it kept saying 30 seconds. And it couldn't have just been the timeout clock because it was on the previous play. It was like, oh, we got 30 seconds left. And then they ran a play, and then it said 2 minutes. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. And then it's like, well, it's not the. Usually it's like in the red, like how much until the clock winds down, the play clock. It wasn't in red, so I don't know. I think they were just messing up. Is what I think. I was also massively annoyed with the line of scrimmage line being black and the first down marker being blue. What is that? Why you got to mess with stuff? It's yellow. It's yellow. The first down marker is yellow. It's always yellow. It needs to stay yellow. Stop messing with my stuff here. All right? Why are we doing this? First down is yellow. But no, I didn't notice that. I do think that there were some issues, though. Preseason for everybody, you know what I mean? All right, why don't we get up out of here? We've got bunch of preseason game calls that we can use if need be. Otherwise, make sure that you get your calls in, and we'll just keep the train on a rolling. You have a good rest of your night. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.